Utah versus Texas Tech this weekend, a massive showdown in the Big 12. Who are you taking?
Blake, I got to be honest, this game at the very current moment, I do not have a lean.
Me either.
On FanDuel, -3.5 for Utah. Utah is the home team. We know that this is a home environment that is incredibly complicated to find success in. It's very hard. It's very, very hard. So that needs to be a part of our conversation. Blake, I think that Utah has looked incredibly dominant, and they have lived up to, for the first 3 games, to the expectation of what we thought that they could excel in. Their offensive line is 2 premier players in Spencer Fano and Caleb Lomu. They're running the ball really well, and Devin Dampier has added another layer to this offense that they needed. They look more explosive. Their defense has been absolutely phenomenal to this point. I'll provide some more context later. But Texas Tech on the other side of things, man, I know that they've gotten some hype throughout the years, over the past couple of years since NIL has become more prevalent. They've got athletes all over that defense and on their defensive line. Their offensive line has been one of the best in the country. And most importantly, Behren Morton has been extremely underrated to this point for how he is looking. I think that both of these squads are on a collision course for an eventual rematch in the Big 12 championship game. But I really love what I've seen from both these teams. I do admittedly lean a little bit in favor of Texas Tech.
Texas Tech is the team that I've been waiting to get in a game with some prime time. Because, look, I think the Utah game, we got to see them early in the year, and Dampier, that offensive line leaning on people. We've got to kind of see them more on the national stage. But last week, we got to see Texas Tech, even in a rain delay or weather delay, they're in the primetime spot. You're getting a look at them. You're getting a real good look at them for the first time, and they flat out dominated Oregon State. I get that it's Oregon State. Joe, the amount of explosiveness that they have on offense is absolutely insane. Jacoby Williams had 7 catches for 116 yards as a running back. They are as explosive a Big 12 team as I've ever seen. And I mean that. Even with Texas and Oklahoma when they both used to be in there. They got so much depth of explosiveness. You start taking away some of these guys on the perimeter, you start taking away Coy Aiken, then you have a problem with Terrence Carter in the middle from the UL transfer. You start taking away the run game, well, they're going to throw some screens on the outside and go speed on you. And, Joe, they don't care. They will go 5 yards per screen on you. They don't care. I think their quarterback is playing very well. The amount of explosiveness and what they've done up front has been something that, look, they went in the portal and spent a lot of money. But until you get to see Texas Tech up close and personal, it's not really what you would have imagined. This is a completely different team. I got to be real with you. Even though the offense has done some of the things, the big plays, the splash plays, it's gotten all the talk because that's what you think when you think Texas Tech. This defense, hello. I mean, Joe, they got dudes all over the place. But this game, when we look at it, is against 2 different styles of opponents. One team that wants to run the football effectively, and they want to play some time of possession and good defense. And I still think that they're doing that with Dampier. Now, he's got to be a little bit more accurate. Last week, Dampier went 27 of 41. And I thought the inaccuracies against Wyoming were a little alarming for me based off of some of the things that we saw from him a season ago. Let me give an example of something and stay with me here. We all wonder what Joey Aguilar was going to look like at Tennessee. We kind of got an idea of what he may or may not do. Dampier yet has shown me that he has taken the next step as of right now. This will show it to us because I think Texas Tech can really get after him. The question I have in this game is, can this Utah defense stop the explosive plays versus can Texas Tech contain Dampier? That is my ultimate questions here.
So this is where statistically why this game is going to be really intriguing because as I talked about, Texas Tech 13th in the country in havoc rate allowed. So they're doing a really good job, especially in pass protection of protecting Morton. Also, to this point, they are 6th in the country in EPA per dropback. So they are getting, as you talked about, they're getting a lot of explosive pass plays through the air. But Utah has been incredibly stingy defensively. They're first in adjusted EPA per play on defense. They're 3rd in EPA per dropback on defense. They are incredibly hard to move the ball at the rate that Texas Tech has found success at. They are very, very great. And just we know historically, Kyle Whittingham has been a coach who has emphasized rallying to the ball, not allowing guys to break tackles, funneling everything, and not allowing for anybody to break free. This is where, and why I don't have like a direct pick. I lean Texas Tech because I think that the athleticism in every single position group is just so ridiculous. There's not a huge separation between them and Utah, but I think that there's just a slight enough edge that Texas Tech could win this game and pull it out on the road. But where this game gets hard to predict is that they both excel in opposite areas.
Yes.
There's not really a pivot point where I can say, well, this is where said team ends up escaping. I think that because Utah is so good at not allowing teams to be explosive, and we've got Texas Tech being so explosive, it makes it really hard to really project what's going to happen. I know I'm not really providing much of a prediction there.
No, but you get to a point where the question starts becoming in a game like this. When you look at Utah, historically speaking, if you execute at a high level, the style that Utah tries to pull off normally wins because you control the game. And when you can control things, you can control the controllables, as coaches speak, normally works. But the question will be there, can Texas Tech and Joey McGuire's staff find a way to get off the field on critical third downs? Can they? Because if you can't convert on third down, Dampier can't make the throws that he needs to make, and he's inaccurate like he was last week. 27-41. I mean, you go and look at, there are some bad throws in there, some very bad throws. And the question that I ask here is, if you do that to Texas Tech and you keep giving an explosive offense time and reps and explosiveness, they're going to keep hitting things on you. Terrence Carter might be the biggest slept-on tight end in the country. Legitimately. I mean, like, this kid is absolutely fantastic. I just start asking questions in reference to, I think that whoever wins third down from Texas Tech's defense to Utah's offense, as crazy as this sounds, is going to win this one. Because if they can continue to keep the time of possession and keep the football, they can't contain Dampier, then it's all going to be all she wrote. Because this offensive line can get pushed on anybody.
That is the part of the reason, too, why I have hesitation for committing to Texas Tech and wanting to pick them to win this. I think that having Texas Tech's offensive line has been stellar and it has played well. But there's a little bit of a difference between their offensive line and Utah's, because Utah's offensive line has 2 guys that are likely to go in the first round of this draft or the next draft.
They'll maul you.
Yeah. They haven't had a singular running back that's put up a crazy total, but they've relied on different bodies to run the ball. They've used Dampier. They've turned to different running backs. They're deep there, which is something that held them back last year, is that they didn't have a lot of depth, and they also didn't have the running aspect from whoever was playing quarterback with them. I think that is where I ultimately have the most hesitation, is if this is a close battle, which it will be, does Utah's ability to control the line of scrimmage, run the ball, play the game the way that they need to, is that how they just win the game? And the thing that I opened this segment with, it's in Utah. The game's in Utah. No matter how good you play, it's really easy to get sucked into the void that is that stadium. I'm a little fearful of projecting Texas Tech to win because it's such a hard place to win on the road.
Well, and listen, Texas Tech has not been tested. And I'm not saying that Utah has, but Utah's at home. You got to go out there and try to find a way to make a statement. Now, Morton had a bad interception last week. Bad one. I mean, old school, off the back foot, throwing it up for grabs. You going to Utah and do that, buddy?
Yeah, you can't do that.
You can't do that.
Wait, one thing I would say, by the way, I think that for what these two teams, the teams that they've each played, I think that Oregon State's comparable to UCLA. I think that they're about the same team. Oregon State and
Oregon
UCLA
State's
are about
far
the same.
better. They got far better athletes defensively.
Oh, so then you would agree. So then you think that Texas Tech's been more tested than UCLA has been?
Yes.
Than Utah has been.
But the thing is with the UCLA thing, when I talk about tested, I don't ever really think a team is truly tested until that first road game. Like, let me give an example. Ole Miss last year is undefeated the entire first 6-7 weeks of the season. Joe, they start going on the road and getting their asses whooped. They go to Florida and they get their ass whooped. They got Kentucky. I know that's at home. They got their asses whooped on the last play, couldn't do anything. Their big win versus Georgia's at home. Every time that these teams, Alabama, keep going on the road, they don't have success. When you got a lot of player turnover and you start going on the road, I don't really care. Spare me the home stuff. Spare me. I mean, Joe, like we talked about this a little bit kind of with Notre Dame. Name a team more tested than the University of Notre Dame right now. Name one.
No one.
Because they faced off against 2 top 10 teams. I mean, I gave you shit yesterday saying they shouldn't have been ranked. So what? They lost to 2 top 10 teams. So you got hey, what happens when that place gets absolutely chaotic and the Mormon juice starts flowing and you can't hear?
Okay, Utah, again, for the 100th time, University of Utah is not just Mormons. It's not BYU. It's not BYU. We got to reframe that. It's a big state.
Okay, I got you. But you get what I'm saying?
You're right. It is a hard place to perform.
Joe, we've seen better teams, with all due respect, we've seen better teams go into there at night and not be far more athletic than Utah and get their asses whooped.
Mm-hmm. It happened to Florida multiple times. We
saw Oregon do it.
Yeah.
How many times did that Oregon team have first-round picks and you're just like, what is going on here?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what was the quarterback name for the Chargers?
Justin Herbert.
I mean, look like I'm not gonna say it.